Hello and welcome to Release Date Rewind. My name is Mark J. Parker and I am a film lover, filmmaker, film celebrator. And normally this is an audio podcast wherever you get your podcasts on your favorite apps. But thanks to Portland Media Center, you are about to watch the video component of this show where I celebrate movie anniversaries with my friends. Each month, I usually talk about 2 different movies that I love with different friends, and we talk about the making of the movies, trivia, any fun memories associated with them. So I hope you enjoy, because now it's time to rewind. I'm so excited to be reunited with my pal and my fellow Death Becomes Her lover, my Housewives fellow fan, my Hollywood starlet. Welcome back to the show. Hello, Funmi.
Hi.
Did you like that intro?
Hi, love. I did like that intro. It felt very warm and welcoming, and honestly, it was very true.
I mean, yeah.
You know, all of those things.
How long have you been living in LA now? Has it been? It's been over 10 years.
It's gonna be 12 years in October. Wow. I know, it's mind-boggling.
And you haven't aged a day. You must have been drinking that potion.
You know, I like to hydrate as much as possible because the weather is dry, honey. Yeah. So it does try to get the skin. Yeah. I drink a lot of water.
Now, has it been as hot over there on your side of the woods? Because over here, I mean, luckily today it was fine, but the last few days it has been intensely, disgustingly hot. How is it over there?
Yeah. No, it's been pretty intense and pretty hot. I try not to go and leave my house during midday because it's like when the sun is brutal. I'll try, if I have to go out, I try to go either super early in the morning or wait until like 6, 7 to go out and do anything when it gets a little cooler.
Totally.
But yeah.
Yeah. I hear
Global warming is real.
Oh, absolutely. I know. Global warming. We still are dealing with COVID. We're dealing with monkeypox. Please be careful.
I can't even talk about monkeypox. You know how I am. We don't need to get into it. We don't like to let the rest of the world know how crazy I am.
No,
but you know that it is like seriously freaking me out.
Oh yeah, your panic is absolutely warranted. The other day, Funmi and our mutual friend Tom, who's been on this show as well, were texting, and Funmi was like sending me news alerts. Thank God. Funmi honestly is my news sometimes. I'm so in my bubble of work and whatever that I'm like, oh, what housewife is getting a lawsuit? Oh, what illness is spreading like wildfire that I should be aware of? But how's work going? Can you tell us what you've been up to? You're always working.
Work is good. I work for a publication company now, and I basically just, tape and record and direct whenever I'm needed. And we did some really fun shoots with the cast of Nope recently. Yeah. I was really excited about that. I kind of patted myself on the back a little bit for that. We did a shoot with Keke Palmer.
How
and
is
it
she?
went viral because amazing.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. Everything. She's such a star. She just gets it, She just understands like what you're looking for and the type of vibe you need, and like she just understands the camera and she gives you what you need. She gives you happiness and fun, and so the stuff we did with her went viral, which was really exciting.
That's great.
Recently got to see the movie.
Yeah. So what do you think of the movie?
I don't want to say anything that might sway your listeners from seeing it, or you as well.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that everyone should see the film and take with it their own opinion.
Okay. All right. A very diplomatic response. Funmi for mayor or president, everyone. That's how you basically say.
I don't want to spoil the fun. I don't want to spoil the fun for other people,
Yeah.
Like, I know people really, spoilers are a thing, and I felt a certain type of way, and so I wouldn't want my opinion to sway.
Now, that's funny, because I know that you totally are usually fine with spoilers. So did you, read about the movie ahead of time much, or...
No, I actually really wanted to go into this movie not having a single idea what was going to happen. Yeah. So I was excited to, experience a Jordan Peele film. The last time we had it was
Us.
Us.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see it, and I honestly, this is going to sound terrible. I didn't hate the movie, but at one point I was kind of like, I saw it super late at night too, so I was like a little tired. My eyes were getting heavy, and I was like, something has to happen soon. Something.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah, I hear you. I totally hear you. All right, I might see it soon. We'll see. Because at first I was like, I'm fine just waiting. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I feel like there's a lot of chatter, both good and bad. So maybe I'll actually go.
Yeah. And you are a filmmaker,
Yeah.
so I would really be interested to hear your thoughts as a filmmaker. Because I'm not a filmmaker. You are. And so I think you might have a different appreciation for this film than I do.
Okay.
To be honest.
Cool. Okay, that's very interesting. Wow. All right. Well, now I definitely have to see it, and I'll get back to you. That's great.
Yeah.
Fumi's hot take on Nope. Headline. Anyway, so now, Fum, let's leave Nope and everything else in 2022, and let's rewind. Okay, let's go back to when we were just little itty-bitty babies. Not really, but you know. In July.
Kids.
We were kids, absolutely. July 1992, 30 years ago, July 31st, this amazing, wild, absolutely bizarre and original movie, Death Becomes Her, was released wide in the U.S., and every weird kid or gay or queer person came alive, basically, with this movie. It's funny because I saw, and I mean, there is a major, obviously, gay affection for this movie. It's so over the top, it's so campy, right? But I did see that Vanity Fair in the last few years did say that it has officially become a gay cult classic. And as someone who has worked on RuPaul's Drag Race, I know our girl Jinx. I saw she loves this movie. This movie apparently inspired her to become a drag queen. So I love that. That's a fun
Oh
little,
my God,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this movie is so good, and like you said, is so campy, is so over the top, is so fabulous. I mean, Goldie and Meryl, like, it doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form that this would be like an iconic film for LGBTQ.
Totally.
I mean, it should be an iconic film for everybody.
For everybody.
It's so good.
Absolutely. Everybody, yeah. Now, okay, before we get into it, are you Goldie or am I Goldie? Are you Meryl or am I Meryl? Who are we?
Oh! You know what? I will be Goldie for the simple fact of probably one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie is when she's extremely, extremely hefty and she's sitting at her couch and she's just constantly rewinding the tape of Meryl, like a standout scene in the movie. So
God.
I will claim Goldie specifically for that.
That's a brilliant scene to lay your claim on because she's what is she even eating? She's like with her hands eating. Is it like frosting or something or Cool Whip?
It's like ice cream melted. And it's disgusting what she's like shoveling in her mouth, but she's having the time of her life.
Oh my God, Goldie in that fat suit was truly eye-opening. I mean, it's talk about Oscar worthy, everybody. But yeah, she's rewinding this old bad movie of Meryl being strangled. Meanwhile, they're banging on the door. It's like her eviction notice, and then it's actually the cops. And she doesn't give a shit, and she's just rewinding. It is demented. That is the definition of demented. So okay, you can have it. All right, I'll be Meryl. And you can be Goldie. I love it. Good. It's set. Greg or Tom or anyone can be our Bruce Willis and painting our asses and our faces and our boobs and everything, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me set the scene. Before we go into more detail about why we love this movie, this is what was going on, Fum, in July 1992. Okay? So this was back when Bush Sr. was our president. Okay? Baby Got Back was the #1 song on the charts for a while. Which is funny because I was saying in another episode that I feel like Baby Got Back is older than this movie, but I guess not.
I would have thought so too.
Right? Yeah. That was #1 for weeks in July 92. I say that, but it's funny, rewatching this movie, and this was the first time I rewatched it in a couple years. It hadn't been like 10 years, but maybe 4 or 5. I did feel, some of the fashion, especially like the men's suits, that early 90s look. Right. It definitely hasn't aged super well. Do you know what I mean? Some of the fashion, right?
But I do feel like some of the outfits that Meryl and Goldie, Madeline and Helen wore, I would rock to this day. Like Helen wore this. Oh no, Meryl, her black catsuit jumpsuit.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Oh, yeah. And also Isabella Rossellini as Liesel in her very revealing, beautiful, very like Gaga, like pop diva Outfits, yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, the women's fashion, amazing. At least those leads. Everyone else, I'm like, okay, yeah, this definitely feels like leftover 80s, but that's okay. It's why it's part of the reason why it's so good. Also on the music side, I thought this was really funny to compare. Mary J. Blige had just released her debut album. It was called What's the 411, and it was produced by Puff Daddy in July 92. Isn't that funny?
92.
Yeah.
What an incredible year for music.
Yeah, right? Especially just incredible month. Such catchy, amazing performers, but it's just funny to think like, wow, Mary J. Blige, like, she just always, to me, just feels like she was always performing. So a debut album, whoa, Crazy.
In 92, you would think that she had been around longer before
Totally.
But yeah. What's the 411, hun?
Better know it, better remember it. On the movie side, some popular movies that were out in theaters before Death Becomes Her totally changed the game. A League of Their Own, which I just talked about with our friend Solana on the show. That was a big hit. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, the sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yep. I remember our girl, Carrie Russell, Felicity herself, was in that. Do you remember that one?
You know what? I have to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
You probably don't need to.
I don't think I have.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. It's, if you've heard the title, you've seen the movie. They, opposite of shrinking the kids in the backyard, Rick Moranis now accidentally shoots the kid into a big giant kid, and Carrie Russell's like, oh my God, I'm the babysitter. This is crazy. And that's basically it. So you're not missing much. But that was a big thing at this time. Did she
still have her big curly hair in it?
Oh yes, because that was pre-Felicity. She was so young. She might have honestly been I think she was a real 16-year-old, so gorgeous. Big, beautiful hair that seems to never be her thing anymore. It seems like once she cut that hair, it never grew in the same.
It scarred her. It never grew in the same. Probably scarred her to death, and she was like, I never want that to be a signature.
She's so beautiful, though, to this day.
Gorgeous.
I think. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And still has beautiful hair. It's just, So that was a big thing. Mo Money with Damon Wayans. Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. These were all #1 movies as well. Batman Returns was a big deal with Catwoman and Penguin.
Wow.
And, of course, this was all, within a month or two. And then, of course, Sister Act was in the top 5 for months that whole summer. Right? So impressive.
I mean, to this day, you just listed classics. To this day, you can watch all those movies.
Right? Summer 92 was not joking. Okay, everyone?
No.
So go back in time and watch some of these awesome, and especially awesome female roles and performers in a lot of these movies, right? For sure.
You're so right.
Totally. So that was what was going on the box office side, and how funny. This movie came out the exact same day as the movie version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So that's kind of a fun little, connection. I have to say, I do still really like that movie. I know, obviously, the show, which we love and we've talked about, is miles better, miles ahead.
Yes.
But I do have an appreciation for the movie. I love the cheers. How funky is your chicken? How loose is your goose? I remember, right? You remember that? I did love it, but I know Christy Swanson is a cuckoo. So,
yeah, she's a little crazy right now, but I do agree with you. I think that there is like a little special place in my heart for the film. It wasn't bad. It wasn't necessarily the most amazing thing we've ever seen, but it wasn't bad.
Oh, totally. I feel like, we probably watched it as kids. Luke Perry was gorgeous. There's a lot of fun little supporting players. Hilary Swank, David Arquette. I mean, so that was definitely not a bad movie at all. And it then led to, of course, a show that really changed TV. So you got to give it up for Buffy the movie, at least a little bit, But that came in at number 7 or so. Death Becomes Her opened at #1. Buffy sort of was a flop, so that's okay. We still love it, right? Mm-hmm. But so, Foom, before I list our key players and crew to tell us, where they were in their careers, I want to throw it over to you. In your own words, what is Death Becomes Her about?
Ooh, okay. Death Becomes Her is about, to me, 2 friends who have a falling out and who are going through midlife crises, or crises, however you say that word, and find something that is so special and amazing that turns their life around, and then they rediscover their friendship.
Yes. I like how you looked on the bright side, right? I feel like other people would be like, well, They both die, and they're stuck together, and they're bitchy, awful people. But you're like, friendship. I love that.
Well, listen, they are bitchy, awful people, but they do have friendship.
Yes.
Friendship.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
hey,
they do.
You gotta have your partner somehow, and so their partner is each other, whether they like it or not. Yes, absolutely. So good. Love that. Beautifully said.
To be young at heart.
Some people will go to any length to stay young forever.
Is that someone?
It's Madeline Ashton. Oh, she was a big star in the 60s.
I thought she was dead.
Oh, madam, you look younger every day.
Thank you, Rose.
But Madeline Ashton and her old friend Helen Sharp
I've lost men to her before.
Mad Hill.
are about to go too far.
So this was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who had just done, this was where he was in his career, because he later on, fun fact, Foom, I don't know if you know this, he, a few years after this, about 8 years, directed one of our other faves, which when it hits its next milestone anniversary, you are totally coming back on for What Lies Beneath.
You know, that's like literally one of my top like
I
5
know.
favorite movies of all time.
I know it is, and I love that you love it, and I love it too. But how cool, right? So he directed that as well. He's really straddled a few different genres, because before this, he had just done all the Back to the Future movies, all 3 of them. He also just done, right? He also had just done Who Framed Roger Rabbit, another massive, you know, kind of game changer of a film in the late 80s. So this guy was definitely very technical savvy, you know, good storyteller. So that's Robert Zemeckis.
And eclectic.
Very eclectic, right? I know. Like lots of really cool big things. He, I think, also later on went on to do Castaway. So all different kinds of big award-nominated genres, right? But so the writers were 2 men, writers Martin Donovan and David Coep. Now, they didn't really have a lot under their, you know, belt on their resume at this time, but I know David Coep, just a year later, went on to write Jurassic Park and some major blockbusters. So, yeah, kind of another person who could straddle a few different genres and really make them soar, you know? So that was behind the scenes. Now the cast. One of the most, and I agree, I'm sure, one of just the best casts ever, right? Even some of the smaller roles, the one-liners, the doctors, and the funny girl in the like plastic surgeon's office or wherever Meryl goes in the beginning in her pink outfit. Oh, Mr. Chagall, I'm sorry, Mr. Chagall. I love everyone in this movie, right? Everyone is perfect. So we'll start, of course, with Meryl and Goldie. So Meryl had just done in her career, she had just done Postcards from the Edge and She-Devil. So it's funny because She-Devil wasn't that far before this, and so she was in that dark comedy phase of her career, and she does it so well, you know?
She does.
Like, I know she does the drama and the tears beautifully, but man, the comedy, we forget sometimes that she is a comedy queen. Goldie, a major comedy queen, right? Goldie had just done House Sitter with Steve Martin and Deceived. Yes. Have you seen those?
Oh, yes. I remember House Sitter more than I remember Deceived, but Deceived was good, right? It was more like a thriller, suspense.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, because her husband disappeared or something in that movie, right?
I think so, yeah. So she had just done those. House Sitter had just come out like a month prior, so she was having a moment this summer. Now we move over to Bruce Willis, who I forget, and for a long time I didn't realize that was him, because even though he just has a mustache and glasses, it's so different for Bruce Willis. You know what I mean? Like who we
know as today.
Yes,
1,000%.
Right?
Yes,
he is so good in this bumbling alcoholic doctor surgeon, right? He's so good. So he had just done Die Hard 2, had just come out a little bit before this, The Last Boy Scout. So he obviously by this time was a mega action, you know, superhero kind of guy,
star.
Right? So to see him screaming at such a high-pitched, you know, sound in this movie and being so goofy in his eyes, I mean, he gives great comedy in this movie as well. It's pretty amazing what he does. Right? He totally does. And then last but not least, we mentioned Isabella Rossellini. What a vixen, what a role. I mean,
so hot.
Holy cow, right? So hot. The body, the outfits. She's only really in, what would you say? I think she's only really in 2 or 3 scenes, but wow, you are glued to her, right? I remember as a kid thinking she was just like a goddess, right?
Yes. I recently wanted, because I had seen the movie recently, and I was like, how old was she when she made this movie? Because like you said, she is just hot tamale. Like, very sexy, everything sitting where it needs to be, very young, smooth. Like, she just looks so great. I'm like, damn.
Love that, yeah.
Like,
what a great way to, everything. What did you say?
amazing.
Everything's sitting where it's supposed to be? Is that what you said?
I
love it.
Sitting where it needs to be.
Where it needs to be? Oh, I love that. Because that is Isabella Rossellini in this movie. You summed her up. I'm going to look up her age right now. I know she, up until this point, was really making a name for herself in like various David Lynch weird movies like Wild at Heart and Blue Velvet and all that stuff. So let me just see. Okay. She is, wow. Wow, this is pretty awesome. She was 40 when this came out. So maybe 39, 40 when they were shooting.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. That's amazing. And as you know, 40 nowadays is pretty young. I mean, we see our housewives and our actors now. And, you know, honestly, I was just talking to friends about this. Besides Euphoria and, of course, a couple other shows, I feel like, you know, our idols nowadays, our movie stars, are actually a little older. We don't have a lot of, like, 22-year-old, you know, like how it was in the 90s.
Not at all.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
1,000%. Yes.
For her to look that good and so stunning at 40 in 1992, that's an awesome casting choice, I have to say. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally. And fun fact, I saw that, oh my gosh, what is her name? She was in the show Jag. She's been around for a while. I'm going to look her up. But I saw that Isabella Rossellini's body double. I guess when she's like in the pool later on, she's all naked. We see her butt a few times. That is actually not Isabella. That is this actress.
That's the actress.
Yes. That is another woman who's done a few different things. Catherine Bell. You might not know her name, but you know her face, and she even did some Skinamax back in the day in the 90s.
Oh.
So she really had it going on. Catherine Bell, she is best known for Jag and Army Wives. So look her up.
Oh my God, yes, I know who
her.
you're talking about.
Yep,
yes.
you know her. It makes
From
a lot
Army
of sense.
Wives.
You're like,
I know her from Army Wives.
Did you watch that show?
Oh my God, I did. That is hilarious. That actually makes a lot of sense now that you say that, and I can put the face to the name because they do actually kind of look alike.
Totally. They really, and now that you know that, like when I was looking that up and then I rewatched the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally make her out. But it's also great casting because they look so similar. So she also might have been around the same age as well. But yeah, so fun fact, she went on to do other things, but at this time she was sort of a hot body in movies. So there you go.
That's so funny.
Right? So that's my little spiel on our main players. Of course, like I said, there's some great cameos. I know Sidney Pollock, who passed away, but he was a big director and actor. He played the doctor who passes out and is on the operating table in the hospital after he can't figure out what's wrong with Meryl, right?
Are you telling me it doesn't hurt when I do this?
It doesn't hurt.
So there's some really good little roles for people. And how funny, Foom, real quick, and then I'll shut up. About a year and a half ago, I did a Zoom play for a small main theater as like a fundraiser. It was Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I had a small part. And as I'm looking up the cast, I realized that the lead, the guy that was playing the lead, the Paul Newman role, his name is Michael A. Nichols. I'm totally going to have to tell him that I'm talking about him. I'm looking him up, Foom, and I realize, oh my God, he's been in some major movies in his life. He lives in Portland now, but I'm like, oh my God, how funny. This guy is just in this little Zoom play we're doing, no pay or anything. I see on his resume, and I shit you not, he was in Death Becomes Her. You better believe I emailed him immediately, said, oh my God, Michael, I know we barely know each other. I know we're doing this play together, but I just want to say, I'm a fan. I love what you've done. He played one of Liesl, Isabella Rossellini's guys. He's actually kind of like her main
he's one of the hot guys
yes.
behind her?
Absolutely.
Oh,
he has long hair. He's the one that, if you remember, when Meryl, once she takes the potion and her boobs are, moving on their own in the mirror, she's loving herself and she whispers, what an iconic line, I'm a girl. And he goes like that. He's kind of like the main henchman, if you will. Long dark hair.
Oh my God.
Super
funny.
attractive. What a great movie to be part of. And did you notice Fabio is one of her henchmen as well?
Yes, I do. I do remember that.
he's
But I
the one
think
that
they
lifts
did
up
that
the
on
towel.
purpose.
Probably, yeah.
I think that was like a funny
like a
cameo
stunt
type thing.
Yeah,
but
stunt casting. Yeah, for sure. It makes perfect sense. But I forgot. I'm rewatching. I'm like, oh my god, Fabio is in this movie. How funny. So yeah, Foom, tell me, when did you first see this glorious movie? Do you remember? Do you recall?
So that's a really good question. I definitely didn't. I don't think I saw it when I was 92. I think I was 7. Yeah, I was 7. I saw it a little earlier, actually. I think what happened was it was on TV.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, this movie is really funny. We should watch it." And I was like, okay. I was like, it's Meryl, it's Goldie, 2 actresses that I love. Why not?
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it. I was laughing. I was actually not surprised Goldie did a movie like this, but I was kind of surprised that Meryl had done a movie like this. Because at the time, she was like the big, Oscar-nominated actress. I thought she only did like really big type films. But I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed her character. Like you said, Bruce Willis, I really was surprised by his character in it. Oh, yeah. And it was just so funky and funny and hilarious and campy. Yeah. I was just like, oh, this is one of those types of movies. Because, one thing about me, which you do know, is that I really don't watch movies a lot, like twice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll watch something and then I won't ever have to see it again. This is one of those movies.
It's true, everyone.
This is one of those movies. It's true. I don't know why, but it's true. This is one of those movies that it's like, oh, I probably watch it every few years just because it's fun and enjoyable for me. Totally. I mean, the jokes, like you said, still stand to today. Oh, and I guess it's just for the writing. I guess I don't know if it was like ahead of its time, but a lot of the things that the characters say in the film are still unbelievably hilarious too. to 2022.
Totally. Oh my god, yeah, it's held up very well. That's sassy.
Held up so well.
A touch of magic. Drink that potion, and you'll never grow even one day older.
Bottoms up.
Now, I have to ask you, Foom, now if you were these women, or if you're just you, would you take the potion? You live in LA. You're among all these
a good
Hollywood people. Would you, if you're at a party and someone gives you Liesel's info, Liesel von Rumen, I believe is her name, would you actually go and take the potion?
That's a really good question, Mark. I'm gonna say no because I have no desire to live forever. Yeah. And obviously, as you come to find out within the film, it has its side effects. You may live forever, but it's not like you're going to be in one piece.
Oh my god. Seriously, literally, at that end, I mean, that ending is so iconic. I know we're jumping around a bit, but that ending is so iconic. I mean, I was thinking when I was rewatching, I was like, seriously, what would have been next? Like, now they're all in pieces. I assume...
What are you going to do?
My brain goes to, okay, you know what? That's when someone at Ernest's funeral, at Bruce Willis's funeral, right, is walking by some weirdo, whatever, and they have to take this person under their wing and show them how to piece them back together, and now they have their new young protege. That's what I would do if I was tasked with making a sequel. I'd be like, now they gotta like find some younger woman, man, gay person could be fun, some beautician, and now they're teaching them as they're all in these severed limbs, right? Because that is such a funny, dark, demented ending.
It is, and so I just have no desire to live forever. So no, I would not take the potion, but I will say, and I'm going to be honest, it would be very tempting. Okay. Very, very, very tempting to just like get your body back to how it felt when you felt really young and at your best. Yeah. I'd really think about it, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't do it. I'd be like Ernest.
Thanks so much for watching. Next week will be part 2 of this discussion. And in the meantime, please follow Release Date Rewind on Instagram.